Should I cut or should I bulk? That's the question that everybody used to be asking. Now, these days, it is becoming more and more obvious that it is certainly a very viable option to cut fat and build muscle at the same time. A lot of people are skipping over cutting and bulking. They're just saying, I'm going to recompose. What's the best workout, the best diet, whatever, to recompose my body by building muscle and cutting fat at the same time? And I just wanted to talk about this a little bit because, first of all, cutting and bulking is still, those are still very viable options, and they are very oftentimes the best options, better than recomposition, which is interesting because I'm doing a body recomposition right now myself, and I'm going to be talking about recomposition. But before I do that, and before I really get into body recomposition, I want to talk about the people who would be better off cutting or bulking. Now, the bottom line is this: I've transformed my body more than once. Okay, one time I cut a lot of fat, one time I built a lot of muscle. And I'll tell you, you're going to get the biggest result, okay, in a body transformation by taking care of your biggest weakness. Okay, if you have one weakness and one strength, if you take care of the weakness while maintaining the strength, you will get a um, much better result than if you try to work on your strength and your weakness at the same time. Okay? So, what I'm basically trying to say is if you have any amount of muscle whatsoever, okay, and you have a lot of fat, it would be better for you to cut fat, to just cut the fat off of your body and to get very lean than to do a body recomposition. Okay? The reason being, if you're very overweight, okay, and you lose a little bit of fat, but you still got a lot of fat. You still can't see your muscles, you still can't see your definitions, and you build a little bit more muscle, you're still going to look like somebody who has no muscle definition, okay, and somebody who has somebody who has no muscle definition and somebody who doesn't really look particularly athletic, okay? However, if you have any kind of muscle whatsoever on your body, and if you cut off all the fat and get very lean so you can actually see your abs, you can actually see the striations, you can actually see the separations of your muscles. I mean, Bruce Lee weighed like 135, 130 pounds. The guy who inspired my first body transformation was the guy Rain. He's a Korean pop star who played the lead character in Ninja Assassin. I talk about Brad Pitt, okay? All the shapes he's had his body in, he was best known for Fight Club when he was skinny, okay? And the same thing was American Psycho, okay? That guy was not very big, but he was very, very lean. So what I'm basically trying to say here is, if you have a lot of fat on you, even if you don't build any muscle, if you have any decent amount of muscle whatsoever, cutting the fat will make you look awesome just because you're very muscular, okay? Muscular as in the muscle you have will be popping right out, okay? At the same time, if you have a little bit of fat on you, you can see your abs, you're not exactly ripped, okay, but you're skinny. Just staying right around the same leanness that you have right now, you don't have to get ripped, but just staying, where you can see your abs pretty well, and just building a lot of muscle and a lot of strength will make you look a lot better than if you went from like 140 pounds and very lean to like 130 pounds and ripped, okay? Like if you're if you're relatively lean, if you could see your abs, if you could see muscle separation, it would make a lot more sense for you to just say fuck it and not dirty bulk, lean bulk, okay? Stay as lean as you are, approximately, but build muscle and strength. And that would be a lot better than recomposing your body because, what I'm basically trying to say is if you're already pretty lean but don't have a lot of muscle, why do you want to get leaner at the risk of not building as much muscle as you can? If you're already, if you're, like I said, if you're already, you have some muscle on you, but you're not huge, but you're fat, why would you want to slowly cut the fat, slowly build some muscle? Because you're not going to see the muscle if it's still covered under fat. It would make a lot more sense to say, I'm skinny, not a lot of fat, but not a lot of muscle, and just build the muscle up while staying lean. Or if you're already overweight, okay, it would make more sense to say, hey, I got plenty of muscle to look good. Let me just cut off all the fat and I'll go ahead and just maintain my muscle and I'll look ripped even though I'm going to be skinny compared to now, okay? But it'll still look muscular because muscular doesn't mean big muscles. Muscular means you can see the muscles, the definition, the separation, okay? Now, who would really be the best candidate for a body recomposition? There are two people, and you're not going to believe it. The absolute most in shape people and the absolute most worst shaped people are the best candidates for a body recomposition. What I'm basically saying is this. Okay, first of all, let's say you have a decent amount of muscle, okay, and you're not really fat. Okay, but you could use some more muscle and you could use, some you could use to get leaner, but like you're already in really good shape. You're already in good shape, okay? So it doesn't make sense to like concentrate on one or the other when you're already pretty lean and pretty muscular. So yes, stay approximately at the same leanness and slowly get a little bit leaner maybe and build a little bit more muscle, okay? And it will be a slow process, but you already look good. You're just gonna go look better. You're gonna go from lean to ripped. You're gonna go from, pretty in shape, pretty muscular to like jacked, okay? So somebody who's already in good shape, as in lean and has muscle, would be great, perfect candidate for a body recomposition. And believe it or not, the most out of shape people in the world, and I'm looking at you skinny fat people, okay, because I was one of them. You got no muscle, but you got a lot of fat. Think Bart Simpson. He's got that little gut, that little basketball gut, but then his arms, are just hanging in his shirt and his legs are just hanging in his shorts. Like he has skinny little thighs, skinny little arms, but he's got this little big fat, skinny fat gut. He's skinny fat. And when you try to cut or bulk when you're skinny fat, you trigger something that I call the skinny fat paradox. Now, the skinny fat paradox basically means you have no muscle, you got a lot of fat, you decide you're going to cut, so you start losing fat. The problem is you also look skinnier and skinnier and skinnier as you cut more fat because the fat does take up size, okay? Then you're like, I'm getting skinny, I need to bulk. No problem. So you stop right in the middle of the cut and you start bulking, but you also gain a little bit of fat. Now the problem is, yeah, you're not as small as you were, you're not as skinny and weak and frail looking as you were, but now you're starting to look fatter. So you're like, screw this, I'm getting fat. So you start to cut again. And you never finish a cut, you never finish a bulk, you never get lean, you never get jacked. You never really accomplish anything because you're going from one to the other because you're not this guy who's like lean and just has to get muscular. You're not the guy who's fat but has got muscle under the fat who just has to cut fat. You're somebody who doesn't got shit. If you get lean, you're going to be scrawny. If you bulk up, you're going to get even fatter. So a skinny fat person would also be somebody who would be a perfect candidate to do a body recomposition where he slowly cuts down on the fat and slowly builds up his muscle and his strength. So by the time his body fat percentage is down to the point where you can actually see the muscle, he has also in that time while he was cutting built some muscle that you could actually see it. Okay? So, like I said, if you're in awesome shape, recompose your body. And if you're in shitty, skinny fat shape, recompose your body. Now, the problem with this is, and the reason why I try to recommend that people still cut or bulk if they're, in a situation where it would help them, is you do not get a whole lot of results really quickly if you recompose. You slowly lose fat, you slowly build up your muscle, okay? Like I said, I got myself fat specifically so I can recompose my body. Definitely suggest you guys go to anaerobics.com/RECOMP2020. Okay, anaerobics.com/recomp2020. And I suggest you follow me on Instagram at anaerobics because what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to take the next 3 months right now and show you exactly how I train and how I diet to recompose my body.